based my music off of, and hoping to like just empower, other people, other women to kind of look at the world through my lens and understand my point of view of like, hey, this is what happened to me. If you're going through this, understand like this is now the journey that I'm on, which is trying to make sure that I'm loving myself more so that I stop making these kinds of choices.
Hello, and welcome back to The Magical Lane. I'm your host, Maggie Jane, and today we have a beautiful guest. This is singer and songwriter Michelle Majors, and I'm so happy to have her here.
Thank you so much. I'm great. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for having me. I really just wanted to, we met once. One time. And she saw me perform live and then gave me a follow, and I followed back, and I just love your spirit and your soul. Like, it just seemed like a really kind-hearted girl, and your message, like, I feel like, you talk about self-love and all of that. And so given the opportunity to come on here is great because like you said, I'm a singer-songwriter and recording artist, and a lot of the music that I sing about and my message really centers around like heartbreak and self-love and just love and dating in general, and just being on that journey of self-love. So what a better opportunity than here. So,
And you have such a powerful voice. I watched her perform at the Sunrose. You were the last artist, correct?
Yeah, I was the last one.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Like, I'll be sharing so much of her music, and like, truthfully, I think I told you that day, I was like, you're giving so much of Amy Winehouse.
You did.
I was like, girl.
It's a huge compliment. That's a very big compliment.
And then I watched, because I was like stalking your Instagram, just to like, get the little flow.
Sure.
But I watched a cover you did of Jessie Reyez.
Yes.
Wow. Like, I feel like that is like such a great like correlation.
Yeah, I think we have a similar like grit to our voice, and I do get Amy a lot. I think it's also, again, like the certain sound. Like, I'm obviously not identical to her. I don't claim to be like, of
course you are,
me, yeah. But it's the general, like the tone of our voice. We have similar things in our tone. Same thing with Jessie. Sometimes people say like there's moments of Adele that might come through. There's moments of certain artists that kind of comes through, and I'm like a soul
powerhouse,
kind of girl with a touch of like, I have jazz influence as well. So it's like it's cool. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Have you been singing ever since you were a little girl?
Yeah, since I was little, been singing. I started by doing musicals, actually.
Really?
Yeah, there's like the first time I ever was on stage and performed for people, I was in like a red wig doing Annie. Just like the funniest thing.
We love
ever.
that.
With these eyebrows, it was crazy. But it was cool. No, and so I fell in love, like, entertaining, honestly, just performing and like singing and acting and just like putting on a show. And I think even as like before I did that I was like 10 when I started, but before that I just really loved even playing like games with like my parents, where I'll like pretend to put on a show for them, or like have like a little keyboard that I didn't know how to play at like 3 years old, and there's like home videos of me like putting on a show for them, so I think it's just something that I loved and I fell in love with. And then after the musical thing, it's like started wanting to write my own music and kind of just went down that road.
How old were you when you wrote your first song?
I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it about?
It was so stupid. I was honestly, it's so stupid because I was talking about like love, like as if like I've ever been in love. Like I was like, it was called like, it's called like, I think like I can go high or something. I mean, like I can go far, like wherever you are, you're still in my heart. Like it's something like that. Something cute like that, but it's funny because you don't know, you're a kid. So you just know love songs are like the thing to write about. I was like, I'm gonna do that. So yeah. So
you had definitely experienced a lot of love by 11 years old.
Sure. Exactly.
Maybe you were talking about like a teddy bear or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's like maybe the love that I want, right? Like you envision as a kid what you want. And I think then you kind of take that and you go with it. So for sure.
Well, I know you still write a lot about love songs. So would you say that first piece that you wrote kind of set the bar for and like the trajectory of where you were headed?
I think that it's interesting. I think that I started off doing a lot of that. And then I think I write a lot from pain. So there's a lot of times when things that I would write about would be like love related, but also like just things in life that happened. And then I started noticing like there was an overall theme, you know, as I got a little bit older. And like now, which is just like talking about these like relationships or situationships or whatever I was dating involved with people and how what would happen in there. And I feel like studying not studying psychology, but kind of learning to, because I've been learning to like better myself, you know, as a person. And I feel like once I started realizing certain terms like love bombing or trauma bonding or, you know, just things like that, I would be like, oh, that's what was going on, you know, with this person. That's why I felt so attached. And so I wrote a lot of songs based on that. And then also this like journey that I've been on of like being on a self-love journey. So I think it all stems from, you know, before. I think that as a kid, you're kind of, at least I was sort of, you're naive because you have this idea of like the Disney princess movies and this is what it is and this is how, you know, love is supposed to be, which is great. But then you actually go out into the world and
get your heart broken.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh, this isn't exactly like, it's not, everything's not a fairy tale, you know, and that's okay. I just wish that it's almost like we get brainwashed by some of this stuff because you think it's one way and then you live life and you're like, it's not exactly like that, you know? So I still believe I really do believe like that there is love out there for me, like the real,
for sure,
you know, for everybody, for you, for everyone, like everyone's out there, you know? I just think that we have to make sure we make the right choices, and I used to ignore a lot of like red flags. For me, that was a big thing. I think I always just really wanted to be loved, and some of that comes trauma based, you know. It's gonna get deep
Childhood.
in here real quick.
That's what we do here.
Yeah, like we're about to unravel some things, but no, for real, like that's just what it was, you know, and that's just how I based my music off of, and hoping to like just empower, you know, other people, other women to kind of look at the world through my lens and understand my point of view of like, hey, you know, this is what happened to me. If you're going through this, understand like this is now the journey that I'm on, which is trying to make sure that I'm loving myself more so that I stop making these kinds of choices, you know, and I can find the right kind of person. Yeah.
How would you say that your self-love practices and routine differ now compared to whenever you were going through some love bombing situations?
Yeah, I think before I was just so, I'm telling you, like it's like weird to think about it, but I was just so like wanting to feel wanted and wanting to be with somebody, that the thing that I was doing was there were red flags popping up. And I would be like, I'll just deal with this later. It's okay. Like, if this becomes a problem, you definitely, if you think I'm going to deal with this later, you will. And it's going to be worse. Like, it's better to get out, you know. And I think the problem with that is then you start thinking, well, but what if this could be something great? And you get entangled in the idea of a potential of a person versus like, but who is this person actually right now, you know? And I had been so involved with people that, you know, they would come in, they present themselves one way, you start to like this, oh, I like this. And then a few weeks in, they would kind of like switch up, maybe, you know, not be acting the same way. They wouldn't say the same things. They wouldn't maybe text you as much or, you know, be doing some of the same stuff. And you're kind of like, wait, but like in my brain, it was hard to be like, but you were just doing this. So what changed, you know? I'm like, and so then I felt like I had to hold on tighter instead of, this is where I realized like, okay, I got an issue with like self-love, because that's the point where you got to be like, you know what, you're not treating me the way that I feel like I should be treated. So I'm going to let go and I'm going to back off. Instead, I would hold on tighter and be like, no, wait, it was almost like I have to prove my worth to you for you to see how wonderful I am. Always ended terribly. It was always like, the best way I can describe it is like driving a car that the wheels are like starting to like, the rubber's getting so thin, but you're still driving it and driving it to the ground. Like that's what it felt like. And my practices started to be like, since then, started to go to therapy. Like I'm very honest about that. Wanted to learn more of like, why was this happening? Digging into my past, digging into patterns, what could this mean? And then showing up for myself. I mean, some of this looks like doing even affirmations to yourself in the mirror, like waking up,
yeah.
like, I mean, it sounds silly because you're just standing there in front of the mirror and you're just like talking to yourself.
Impactful.
Yeah. Do you do that as well?
For sure.
Yeah. It is impactful because I think the more you do it, the more your brain starts to kind of like believe it.
Yeah.
A lot of this is subconscious. To me, it was like, no, like I love myself. What do you mean? Like I don't sit here hating myself. I don't sit here being like,
and that's the hard part.
Yeah. It is. No, it honestly, because you don't realize it. Like, but deep down somewhere in the root of your brain, it's telling you a different story. And so once you realize that, you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like I didn't realize this because I'm not like, there's people that very obviously are like, oh, I hate myself and I this and that. And I was never me. I was just didn't understand that it can be so deep rooted, but you don't even realize it. So I started doing like, another thing is like you make promises to yourself and you keep them. That's like a small way to like show yourself, hey, I'm standing up for myself. Setting boundaries, not people pleasing, not feeling like you have to say yes to a lot of things. And I think that the worst part is, even though you understand all of this, there are still times when like I might meet somebody, and if like now I can be like, okay, this is a red flag, I'm going to walk away. But it doesn't make me, how do I say this? It's not like I'm less particularly attracted to the person. It's just more like, I know this is wrong. Yeah. So now I'm going to, this is going to hurt me. This is not good. I'm putting myself first. But that doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, I'm still not attracted to this person anymore. No, like, yeah, there's times when they could do something and I'm like, it gives you the ick and you're like, no. But there's also times when maybe in your mind, it doesn't seem like it would be the biggest deal breaker, but you're also like, this isn't right. And I deserve better than this. So because I know this now, I'm going to like back. And you have to practice it. That's it. So
I definitely feel like we have to learn to like listen and actually see things for what they are, because people show you like instantly who they are, how they're going to treat you, and what like a future with them is going to look like. They show you within like the first month.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Or maybe even a shorter amount of time.
It's crazy. And that's the thing is like, the other thing is like, you don't actually know, like, you don't know the person when you just meet them. So to be like, no, but he would never, like, well, how would you just met this person? So I get that because I've been that girl too. That's like, he would never, but we don't think about it. Like, you don't actually know this person. And, they say like, sometimes it hurts worse when something ends with somebody that you never like fully like actually got into a relationship with than someone you were in a relationship with, because you're wondering what the future would be like with that person. And that's the craziest thing, because it's true, because you're like, oh man, we're so perfect for each other and this could have been great and blah, 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 because you don't actually know, because you never got to fully experience dating this person. Versus like, oh, we only saw each other for a few weeks and now it's over, keeps you wondering, right? So it's the human mind.
Going off of that, like even beyond relationships, I feel like that's very like prevalent with life in general. Like people will reach the end of their lives and they're like, oh, I wonder what that would have been like if I would have like actually put myself first and pursued my passions and all of that. So that's why we have to do that. And I love seeing that with you.
I just want to break that. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to be that girl, there's still things I'm working on. I'm not perfect. Of course. We all are.
That's the whole journey of life. We're always going to be working on something, because we're always growing and changing and evolving. And every time we turn one of those guys or girls away that we know is not going to be good for us, I feel like it's equipping us with more tools for the next person, and it's making us stronger. And it's like, we can set all the boundaries we want, but until you're faced with that situation and you actually choose differently, then it's like, I am strong. It's like, wow, I'm powerful.
Yeah, it's empowering. It really, if you feel good about it, honestly. I mean, like it like sucks that it had to be a certain way, but you're like I'm glad that I chose myself. And I mean, choose yourself, you feel good, and I feel like then God, the universe, whatever you believe in, brings you more into something that's in alignment with you, and then you can get that. A lot of these things are also a test. Like, hey, are you still stupid?
No, literally.
Like, for real. Like, hey, you still stupid? Let's try. Oh, yep, you're still an idiot. No, like, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you have to almost go through that. I feel like to strengthen yourself. And as much as it sucked, I do think about the fact that had I not gone through a lot of that stuff, I would have probably still been emotionally in that same position. And then who knows? Then you get involved with somebody, you guys are together for years, you get married, whatever. And then next thing you know, something goes down. And now what, you're an emotional wreck because of that. I want to be able to like just like stand my ground and know that no matter what happens, because anything can happen in life, that I still am okay because I still have me, and that's what the goal is, I think, for me, is like getting to that unshakable point, because I'll still have my days sometimes. And like I said, it's a journey. It's a journey, try and be gracious to myself and like give myself some grace, like really just be like, hey, it's okay.
Grace and compassion.
It's honestly the hardest things. I'm one of those people that's like, I want this now. Like, I want to be able to just get this locked in now. And why is it not at 100%, But it's like, no, I see the progress of me and I see how my mind is working now. And I see that I'm putting myself in better positions and how I'm willing to, like, honestly, getting to experience peace. You realize how better it is to just be alone until you find somebody who adds to that peace, rather than it's like a toxic drain. And you're just like, I would rather, like, I'm okay with being alone until I find a person that really is of value to be like my partner, my significant other, or whatever. So yeah, I would say also for self-love, like going on self dates, taking yourself out, go get some coffee, if you, whatever makes you feel good. If you feel good by dressing up or looking cute, like do that, or go to the beach by yourself, like do some things by yourself. It's okay. I think sometimes people get really worried about like, oh, it's going to look weird if I'm at the movies alone. It's like, it's not.
Oh, it looks so
nobody
powerful.
Cares. Yeah.
I feel like anytime I see like somebody out by themselves, I'm like, dang, I wish that was me. But I mean, I'm like with my friends, I'm like, I love y'all, but like, dang.
Yeah, I like that. This person's really cool. Yeah, because it's very empowering. Like, you don't give a damn and you are super okay with just being there alone.
I love doing that. I take myself out all the time.
I love that. What are some like places that you like to kind of like go?
Honestly, I'd say mostly in nature. Like, I'll go on solo hikes. I'll just go sit at the park and like read and journal.
Yeah.
I want to start taking myself to the beach more.
Yeah,
or
love
just
that.
Cafes. Yeah. I love going to sit at a cafe and like work or read or literally just like people watch.
Yeah.
Get my matcha and just watch the people walking by.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
It is.
But I want to go back to something you had just said.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you write a lot from pain, and something that I'm really curious about, as far as just like being creatives, but specifically people in the music industry. I recently watched a video of The Weeknd, and I don't know how we feel about The Weeknd here, but I was just watching this video. And
I like him. I like his music. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was just saying, like, because, he's very, like, toxic, sad music for so long. You wouldn't really see him doing interviews. And then he just put out this film, and I watched an interview, and he was saying how the music industry, like, wants to like steal your sadness, like it wants you to be in pain, just because when you're living that pain, it gives you like the best songs and the best like things. So have you noticed with yourself that you've wanted to keep yourself in like painful situations or put yourself in harder experiences to have the painful writing?
Interesting. Honestly, no. Because none of this is contrived. Everything that I've written about is like been naturally has happened to me in real time. And then I would either write about it afterwards, or it's something from my past, or I'm going through it in that moment. It was never something that I felt like, oh man, now I have nothing to write about. Even now, like I'm more in a peaceful place, I still could write about the journey of this, right? B, whatever, there's still stuff to write about from the past. And I think that there's always stuff to write about that, or even like what trauma has made me, have to go through all this. Like there's always a way that you can tap into pain, I think, especially if you've gone through enough of it, you know?
Yeah, it never goes away.
I understand what he's saying to an extent, but there's also people that write a lot of happy songs, and that's their thing, you know? I just always noticed that for me, I like to write about the experiences that kind of just like, I think hurt. And I don't know, it just naturally, nobody said you have to do it this way. Like I could be writing about some happy moments, and I do. It's not like only sad songs. Like, you know, I write songs that are like, hey, this is what, you know, a happy song or whatever. But I think that for me, it just was personally a thing where I was like, this needs to be written, this needs to get out. And I always felt like my job on this earth as an artist is to help people through my music. Like, it's like, here's some songs, and what I hope you get from this is like, this helped me through this time, or this helped me relate to this, or wow, now that she said this, it makes me want to stop being in the situationship I'm in, or like, I got to learn to love myself. You know, it's like about the message. And I really like that, because I think that it makes me feel like it's a bigger purpose of being an artist is like that for me. So I can't relate to that exact statement that was said, but I can understand it. I think everybody has a different experience. The deeper you get into this thing too, like in the music industry, I'm sure there are people that are like, hey, you've only made sad songs, and so that's what people know you for, and that's where all your hits are, you know, like you should keep doing that.
I feel like it was probably coming like from a fear of who is The Weeknd without sad toxic songs, you know? But like I'm just happy to see him like finally breaking out of that. So I was just curious, because I was like, you know, that's so real. Because I feel like even just like with a lot of things, it's really hard to kind of start to rebrand and create a new identity, because it's like I've built this entire career, or I built this entire life, or this entire relationship, and it's like I don't want to be that person anymore.
I mean, you evolve. I think because like I think there's artists too that do evolve, and we see it with like even like an Ariana Grande, or just people you see, they have like different chapters. Like she makes great music, and I think it's, you know, very relatable in many ways in different phases of her life. And there's going to be times when you listen to some of the stuff and you're like, oh, okay, this is what was happening. And then like she has her tour, and she's gone for a little bit, she comes back, and now it's a little bit of a rebrand. And in a sense, like she's still her, but it's just like a different version of her. Or time has gone by. Adele, you know what I mean? Adele is a great example that she'll come out with an album 5 years later, maybe come out with a new album, and things have changed in that time, you know, and she'll speak on those experiences. But I think it's just like, that's part of the artist's journey. I think that, and you also don't have to change the core though of like who you are. Like I feel like for me, you know, I'm going to be going on a journey as well. I am. And I think that as an artist, I think that, you know, at the end of it all, though, it's still going to be based around the subjects of my life. It's just going to be about the way that I present it and how much I talk about certain periods of time. I'd love to have a time when I'm talking about actually being in something that is very healthy, and what that looks like and how it feels different, you know, because right now all I can do is write songs of what I hope that's going to be like, or what I think it's going to be like, you know, and what I would like for it to be like. But to have music where I'm actually like, hey, you know, all of this was worth it. All those people that I had to go through to get to this, like it was worth it, you know. That's a different experience, and that could be seen as a different phase of life as an artist. So
different phase of Michelle.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to your happy love songs.
Yes, me too. I hope soon. No, we'll see. Yeah.
It's all divine timing, and the whole journey of searching for love is so interesting, but just staying present and just loving yourself, because like that, the right person will come, you know. It's bound to happen. Truthfully.
I think it stems from loving yourself too. You know what I mean? Like, if you love yourself more, there's more of a person that can come in and love you, because you're going to be rejecting the people that aren't giving you what you like deserve, or what you want, or what you need. So I think so.
One of the biggest thing I've been like reminding myself and like asking myself, I'm like, is this version of myself somebody that I want to like bring to someone else, or is there something that I could work on more?
Yeah.
And like there's always stuff we can work on.
Always, yeah.
I think a lot of people get so focused on I want my partner to be this, and this, and then I'm like, are you those things?
No, it's true.
Yeah.
And I think some people also get focused a little bit too much on maybe material things, or depending, like, if he doesn't have blue eyes, I don't want to date. It's like, is it really, but if he has brown eyes and he's really a great guy and you guys connect, does it really matter, or like just things like that. So I think some of these things, you do also have to look at yourself. I also think some people serve as a mirror.
Yeah.
Or like you're both mirrors. And that's where it's the triggering thing, right? Because like you'll show this person what they're doing wrong and they'll show to you where you still need to work on yourself, which is like sometimes arguably the worst. Like it's like the avoidant, anxious, right? Like, but not even just that. That's just an example. But like people like that, where you have that, like, hey, here's what's I'm showing you and you're showing me, and it's just like a oof. And then you can't, you have to not be with that person, but it's something that was gained from that. And that's really interesting to look at too. Yeah.
I feel like the more like self-aware and the more we like focus on ourselves, the more of a mirror we become. And it's
so true. It's crazy.
It is. Because I'm like, I saw your video about the mirror work and you're like, I don't want to be a mirror for everybody. Yes. And that's so real.
I was like so tired of it, because it's just like you meet people, and then if they're not self-aware enough, if they haven't done the work, it's like an ego hit.
Yeah.
Okay. And so their ego is now like, like, like not, like that's literally like what it is. And so then, like, all right, like I'm gonna go and you're gonna go do your thing, and you're either gonna get it or you're not. But the thing is, if you're not gonna work on yourself, if you're not aware of it, it is what it is. And then you also have a different classified type of people, which is like the sociopaths. And I have, honestly, it feels weird to say, I have been involved with two people that were one is a sociopath for sure, and the other one told me was like diagnosed. So it just was like crazy, because some of them also know that what they're doing, and they're like, I should get help for myself. I've had one of this person say this to me, I should get help for myself, but I don't really want to. And so it's like, and I said, well, why? I was like, I like being able to, I can't believe this is that, I like being able to manipulate women. And when I was like, wow, damn, like that's very honest. And it really makes you look at that lens and kind of be like, that's crazy.
But I feel like so many people feel that way.
Yes. And they just don't say it. They'll never admit it. So I almost like admire the honesty.
No, honestly, yeah.
And like,
it's like, thank you. I'm definitely going to step away. But thank you for saying that.
Yeah. I appreciate knowing that this is real. Like I actually wrote once, there was this like video I did on TikTok, and I said on there, I said, I feel like sometimes when I make these videos trying to help girls from my experience, there'll be men that will pop up and they'll be like,
of course,
oh, it's so sad when I see another pretty girl trying to tell other women to not trust men. And I'm like, I never said don't trust men. I said, here's what's happened in my life. You need to be careful. Don't ignore the red flags. And I'm like, what it sounds like to me is that you don't want there to be more stronger like women, so that it's easier for you to manipulate. Yeah. And some guy commented on that video and was like, you're absolutely right. And he was like, I love being able to, I don't like strong women because I can't manipulate them. I was like, well, thanks for your honesty. But damn, like you really look at that and you're like, this exists, this really exists. Like we try and be like, oh, it's not, but it does. It's out there. So we gotta be smart.
I feel like that's so like strong in the dating culture right now. It's like men don't want strong women. They want to manipulate, but women want to be strong. And it's like, I don't want to be manipulated. I don't want to be told what to do. And there's just like, there's this power struggle going on right now. And something that I've been like learning and experiencing with myself is like, once you find like the healthy masculine, like they're gonna appreciate you being a strong woman, but also like the masculine wants to lead, and I think that's really like the problem right now, because it's like most men are not healthy masculine right now. So it's like we want to lead you, but we're also leading from manipulation, and we're seeing that, and it's like, no, fuck you, like,
right? No,
like, well, you're gonna lead me into the ground.
Yeah, because like I like when a man is able to lead, but if you have to lead from a place that you're a healthy individual, and you're not scared of the fact that like I can also be strong, because my whole thing with this self-love and everything is just like wanting to make sure that I am not dependent on a man emotionally, so that if for any reason something were to happen again, I'm not like devastated. This is the end of the world. This is why I always say to women, like, not even just say, but it's conversations that I'll have with people that I'm like, I feel like it's so important for a girl to be able to be independent, that when she has a man come in her life, she will allow him to, be able to lead, as long as it's healthy, like we said, and then, but if God forbid anything happens, that she's still able to be like, all right, well, I'm going to be okay. I don't need you emotionally or even financially. Like, that's the goal, right? For us to all be able to afford our own stuff. But then you get somebody and they want to pay for things. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. But know that if you decide to walk out that door tomorrow, I don't have to be worried about how am I going to afford anything, because I can deal with it on my own. I think that's kind of like my thing is just the having that concept be understood, because I think there's also a lot of girls that are like, well, if the man should be the man and he should only be the one doing everything. And I'm like, listen, I agree in a general sense of like, it's great for a man to be able to do whatever, he feels like he should do, but like you should still be able to know that like, if for any reason something happens, you can walk away. It's not that simple. If you're dating someone and then you suddenly like they pay for everything and you're just like relaxed and they're like, oh, don't worry about anything, and then one day you guys break up, now what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to walk away, and he might know that he has you, so like he could maybe manipulate, abuse the power. So it's like, where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna pay for things now? Because like you're under his little thing. So we gotta be careful. It's a weird world we live in sometimes. So like we gotta be careful.
It seems like these men out here, like, it's in their nature to lead. And I feel like a lot of men are not leading themselves in a like a good and proper way. And it's like, well, we still want to lead these women and these people we're with, but it's like, where are you even headed?
Have you even been to a therapist? Like, have you even like looked at yourself and tried to do work and be self-aware? A lot of them haven't.
And I feel like that's really where the problem is, because like we want to be led as women. Like, as much as we want to sit here and say like, I'm the masculine, I'm strong, I want to do it all for myself, we're lying.
I'm telling you. It's like
we want the man to lead, because like that's in our nature. To be led. And to nurture.
I just like, it's like, I feel like for me, I'm always gonna have a strength to me of like, this is my masculine side, right? Like the business of Michelle Majors. I'm gonna have to be, I'm the strong business lady of my own self, my nature. But when I come home and my man's there, I want to be able to take that off and be in my feminine and just really like, let you do the leading and just like relax and not have to plan. I'm going to plan everything, or like, let me, take control of this. Like, no, I don't want to have that. I want to be able to release that control, because I do that on a regular basis for myself. So when I'm around you, I want to give you that power, and but you have to make me feel like that's okay. That's the other thing, because some guys also are overly effeminate when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So then you're in your masculine without wanting to be. And I'm like, I don't, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right, because there should be a healthy balance. Like, like every guy should have a feminine side, like, to an extent. 100%. And every girl's going to have a masculine side to an extent. But there's like a healthy balance for everyone. And it's just like, I just wish people would understand that more. And everyone's always like, in these comments, when I read it, drives me nuts. They're always like, oh, like, it's either we're love bombing you, but you expect us to do all these great things, and I'm like, I don't think you know what love bombing means. I don't think you know. Like, we just want you to be like, all these things I'm describing is just being a gentleman.
Yeah.
We want you to just be a gentleman without some weird like hidden agenda, This is love bombing is not what you are making it out to seem, and I feel like people are just trying to find excuses as to why it doesn't work because this is why, and it's like, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah. Okay. So just around like being a gentleman and courting women, I think we need to bring that back.
Oh my God, please. If anybody over there is listening, like, please bring that back. Seriously, that is so important. I can't say what do you think? What are your thoughts about that? Like, what do you think? What does that look like for you in a way?
Just like what courting and like the gentleman and just like that relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes back to like how the man is leading himself and like his team and his people. I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Like, you cannot court a woman if you're not leading yourself and the people around you. Like, whether it's your best friend or like you have an actual team or your job or your CEO or your family, like you have to be a strong leader, even if you're not like the alpha, the one in charge. Is like, how are you leading? Because like leaders lead other leaders.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is the first check, is like, how is that man doing that? And then that's also going to show you like how he's going to lead you.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think we should bring back courting, and just people need to take their egos away.
For sure.
Like, take the ego away and just accept that the way that relationships used to be, like, that is ingrained in us. Like,
it is.
That is our
natural. Stop with this nonsense. Like, it's because I mean, it even comes down to like me hearing people talk about. I heard this girl like talk in this video where she wanted to date this guy, and he was being weirdly mean to her, and she was like, "Why are we even on this date?" And then at the end of it, he's like, "So I'd like to ask you out again." And she's like, "Why would I want to go on another date with you? Even mean?" And he's like, well, I just didn't want to show you I like you too much. I'm like, why would you not want to show the girl that you were on a date with that you like her? So you decided I'm going to be mean. Like, we're all in 5 years old, and it's like the boy that pushes you and he secretly likes you. Like, that's not how this works. Like, to me, going off some of the stuff that you're talking about with courting, like, I really love when a man does some of the things like open your car door. I don't know.
It's respectful. Classic. I'll literally stand outside the door. Wait.
I'll be like, you can open this. Or we're just gonna stand here.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm the same way. I'm like opening a door when we're going somewhere. Even if it's like, I even think it's cute when you go to sit down and sometimes they will like take your seat and like do that for you. I think we're talking etiquette when it comes to paying for the bill. Like, if you are asking me out, this is a date, like, at least, for a little bit, like, you should be paying for it. It's not a split situation. Like, and they always like to use the excuse, well, feminism killed that. And it's like, that's not, again, I don't.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. Like, that's not what feminism is. Like, so I like some of that. I think, being a gentleman is also just respecting you, not expecting things, especially like sexually, right away, giving the grace of understanding of like, I don't really like games. I'm not a person that plays games. I think we're all kind of past that at this point where we don't need to be playing games. Like, if you want to talk to me. You don't have to wait. There's this thing where some guys, it's like, oh, well, I have to wait 2 days before I, talk to her now again.
That's such childish behavior.
Ridiculous. Like, please don't do that.
You're a child.
If anything, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's not interested or whatever. And then,
right?
What's up?
It's so annoying.
Like, the what's up?
That's
it's crazy.
In like the in and out behavior, it's not getting you anywhere.
Nowhere.
It's not getting you anywhere.
No. So I think that's like some of the stuff we're talking about, like courting and being a gentleman and just being kind, and it's just not. It can just be so simple. I feel like if we all just really took a step back to like look at things as a whole and be like, it doesn't have to be this complicated. We're making it more complicated than it has to be. So.
And I think like something that I've been exposed to more recently is like, with all of these like things that we want from men, like open our doors, pay for things, all of this, like I think they forget that like when we get treated that way, like we praise. We treat you
Yes.
like a king.
A
Like
king.
it's reciprocated.
100%. You are absolutely right. Like it's like if you don't treat us well, then we don't, you know.
We have no desire
Right.
to treat you well.
Right.
It's like
it's crazy. Unless you were like the damaged version of me, which was literally like, oh no, now I have to prove it. Again, it's weird, it's complicated. But in a healthy scenario, when you already understand all that, no, when you treat a girl poorly, she does not want to then continue to be nice
like
to you.
Take and take.
Yeah,
and
no.
take. Yeah.
It has to be like we don't want to be the chaser. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have to chase somebody. And I think that that's the thing is like if you treat us well, we'll treat you well, and it can work that way. You know, respect, boundaries, understanding, communication, being able to talk about things. Like that's the other thing, being able to like have an actual conversation and not being like, oh well, now you know something's a problem. It's like it doesn't have to be. We can have a civil conversation like adults, and it can be fine. You know, so all of that. Yeah, I'm on board with that for sure.
What would you say are like your like non-negotiables when it comes to how you show up in just like your relationships?
Non-negotiables. I mean, there has to be something. I connect to people with humor. To be honest with you, I think that comes from my dad because my dad's like a funny guy. If we don't have a basis of humor, if the person's just very like stiff, it's very hard for me to then be like, oh, I want to continue seeing this person because I like to laugh, you know. And that's just like I think most girls like to laugh. So like if a guy can make you laugh, it's a bonus, it's a plus. So that's something for sure. I think non-negotiable, if I'm like I said, if I'm going on a first date with you and you're not paying for the bill and you ask me out, or for whatever it is, you're not going to see me again. Because I think that's weird. And then makes me think about what else is going to be a thing, you know? Another thing, non-negotiable would be like, obviously anything that's like, I see you treating either me or other people poorly. So like wait staff.
Yeah.
If you're out somewhere and they're like talking smack about the waiter or like being rude to anybody, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is who you are, your character. So good for me to see this now, and I'm going to go. Also, anything that has to do with like, I have a special needs brother, and I sometimes will bring him up. And if I see your reaction to that is like not good, it's automatically not going to work for me because he's a very, very important person in my life.
Of course, that's your brother.
It's my brother. And also, like, can we just be nice in general to people? Like,
literally,
you know what I mean? It's a compassionate thing. Like, it's nothing. There's people out there with different things going on in their lives, and you know, if you respond to it a certain way, it's going to make me feel safer around you. It's going to make me, you know, want to keep you around. So that's some of my stuff. How about for you?
I'd say very similar.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, I'm a very silly person.
Yeah.
So, need a laugh. Very big on, like, the wait staff, because I was a waitress for 4 years. So, it's like, I know what it feels like. So, don't be rude. Just be nice.
Yeah.
And also just very a healthy lifestyle. I'm, like, very healthy within myself, like, as far as nutrition, exercise, mindset, spiritual, like, well-being and everything. Like, how often do you put your feet in the grass? Like, how often are you in nature?
Yeah.
So those are definitely like some main things for me. And then also just like routine, but also like spontaneous. Okay. And adventure.
Yes. I'm the same way too. Yeah. I feel that.
It's like I can't have it just this, and this, but it's also like, well, we don't know what we're doing ever. It's like balance.
Yeah, I think a good balance of that, and like somebody who, you know, has the ability to be a homebody, but also like wants to go out and do things too. Yeah. It doesn't always want to stay at home, but also isn't like a let's go out all the time. Yeah. I actually don't think I can be with people that are party animals because I don't live that lifestyle. No. I don't do drugs. Like, you know, I don't like go out to raves, really like do that kind of stuff. So it's hard to be able to relate to that as much. Like if you're doing it all the time, if you do it once in a while and you love to like, oh, let me just go out, you know, to I don't know, a rave or something. I don't know, whatever it is. Sure, by all means. But as long as it's not like your preliminary lifestyle, I'm the same way with you where like, I take care of myself, so I want to make sure the person I'm with also is like on board for taking care of. I think it's very like attractive when a person's like, I work out, or I, do this, and it's part of my regular routine, because I'm the same way. So I think it's lifestyle choices like that will also, if sometimes when you overlook those things, is if it's like a really big part of your life, it can become a problem too. Even if it's a nice person, like it might not work for you with this person, because you're going to be doing something that you really want your partner to be doing, and then if that person's not doing it, it's just going to be like, okay.
You have to be willing to align with each other's habits.
Yes.
Like, unless you have habits that you want to let go of, then it's like, cool.
Right.
But if you have like these set things that you do for yourself, then they're not a part of that, and it's like, it's not gonna work.
No, absolutely not. It's a compatibility thing. Like, do you live similar lives? Do you think it can make it happen? And I think people also have to, at the same token, understand that there's a level of you don't need somebody also all the time. Like there's a level of opposites attract too.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need somebody who is identical to you. And it's okay to venture out to try somebody that's a little bit different than that's like your norm, maybe.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed is like, sometimes you see certain people with certain people and you're like, I understand why they're together, and I hate it because it's like a visual thing that you can see, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like what I'm just saying is like, just because, let's say, for example, somebody's covered in tattoos doesn't mean they can't date somebody that's not, or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like that, like it's not that deep either, unless that's like top priority for you for some reason. I don't know. As long as the person respects you.
Up, like I gotta be inked up.
Yeah, too. Right? Like it's like, okay, that's strange, but all right, I suppose if that's what you really want. Like I think it's more about what's in here. You know, and again, can you have those conversations? Can you sit in silence and it's not awkward? That's a big thing. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're with even friends and you like already know, or like you meet somebody new and you're trying to see, like, can we be friends, or what kind of friends can we be? Some people you just click with, and even if you guys are sitting in silence, it's just like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, okay, whatever. But then there's some people it feels like genuinely awkward when it's just silent and you're like, okay, what do I have to say right now? Like, what do I do? So I think that's a big thing too. It's testing out a lot of these things, and maybe over time you see. So yeah.
Something that I love to do is just like an eye gazing practice, where you're literally like not talking, and I mean,
just like this, like staring in their eyes.
Yeah, you just like talk. I think everybody should try this. I recommend. Okay. On your next date, just be like, we're gonna do eye gazing for like 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay. You're gonna be like, what are you talking about? You're like, just watch. Just literally watch.
And like maybe you'll cry, maybe you'll laugh. Okay. It's also like big on like mirror work too.
Ooh, I've never tried this. I'm actually like intrigued by this. So you really just like, you'll be like, let's do an eye gazing thing, right? And then you'll just like, how do you explain it? Just like, let's look at each other.
Just look into each other's eyes and
just see what happens.
Kinda? Just like feel, and
it's honestly,
presence
is a big,
it tells you so much. It tells you so much. And then it's like, I've noticed, because like I learned about this on a spiritual retreat I just went on in Costa Rica, and whenever like we did it with like multiple different people on the retreat, we did it for like 1 to 3 minutes with each other, and it was intense. And it's like you're like looking at them, and it's like all of these thoughts and feelings are coming up, and it's like, is it that person's feelings? But like truthfully, it's your own. You're just like, they're mirroring it back to you. So I think if you do that with like someone that you're interested in, like intimately, then it'll show you like a quick little preview, foreshadow of the healing that you guys are going to go through together.
Well, it's crazy you say that, because sometimes, they do say like the greatness that you feel like you had with somebody, especially if it was short term and you're like, oh my God, like we could have been great. Yeah. Sometimes what you're actually experiencing is your own greatness that you brought, and you just don't realize it. And that's a big thing. It kind of blew my mind, because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it, because I'm like, wait, so you're saying that if I was seeing this person and it felt really awesome to me, there's a potential that person's not even that way in real life. And because I was the greatness that brought into like that's a very big possibility too. I never thought about that until I was like, I mean, it makes sense, because sometimes you really like are like, damn, like I really wish we could have seen where this would have went with this person. Yeah. But it's like, maybe it was just me. Like maybe it's me.
Literally.
You know, like that's a really big concept there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's super important. It's like, and I feel like those situations don't work out because that person would have tried to just steal your greatness.
Steal your greatness. And I think about that too. This is like something very spiritual. There's this girl, she told me about my, God, I forget what it's called. It's like, basically you are either, you're potentially a few things in life. And one of them is like a receiver, one is a giver, one is um, a manifester.
Oh, the human design?
Yes, the human design.
Yeah.
And I was the one that like I reflect back to people. Which one was it? My God, I forget if it's the receiver or the giver. I think it's the receiver.
Maybe.
No, maybe the other. Anyway, it's something that is more of a smaller percent in the world. So it's like 20% of people in the world are this. And basically, like, it's kind of like what I'm saying when you're with somebody, the joy that you might be feeling is the joy that you are bringing to the thing.
That's so real. I think I'm also that.
That's crazy. Oh my God. No, that's really awesome in a way, but also it's like, because I had conversations where I was like, I really felt like there was this connection with this person, and she was like, and there could have been, or it could have also been like you bringing that into the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand how, because he was acting this way towards me. And then she was like,
he's receiving it.
He's receiving it.
He's receiving your energy.
And, and that might not be really like who this person is in real life. Like, and you're like, well, what do you mean real life? Like, this is real life. It's like, yeah, but like outside of you, when you're not around, who is this? And so I think that sometimes what I've noticed, some guys might realize that when they're with you, they act this way, but and it's not that it's a great thing that they're this way, but this might not feel true to who they are on a normal basis. And so they feel like they can't give you what you want, even if it's like simple things, right? They feel like they can't live that life always. Sometimes they feel like they're not good enough for you. It's a true story. I had a guy that was like telling me he felt like because of the way that I look or the way that I dress, that he didn't understand how like I could be into him. And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's almost like a self-sabotage, but also like, I'm not willing to step up to be that better person. Because I never demand anything from people other than respect and like, being treated well. But that part, know.
No, I can definitely like feel that energy. I feel like we have that similar energy.
Yeah.
And like not everyone can handle that.
No.
Because it's like we are such powerful mirrors. So it's like if those people want to be a part of our lives, like they have to grow. Yes. Like they literally have to do so much work, because like literally us just being there is like causing so much to come up for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like not everyone can handle that. And some people are like super attracted to that. And that's where like, it can get kind of scary, because it's like, I want more and more and more. Yeah. But it's also like, I just literally cannot, because they're just not ready to face
themselves. Yeah. And that's crazy. Yeah. It's true though. Cause like, that's what they would have to do, is like, be like, okay, if I want to be better, if I want to be a better man, if I want to grow, that this person's showing me like, hey, there's a part of you that still feels like you're not good enough, or you're insecure about something, or whatever it may be. Right. And then you're looking at that and you're like, damn, I don't feel good about this. And this is where the decision gets made. I either grow and become secure and say, screw it, I'm not going to sabotage this for myself, or I'm going to be like, I'm not ready to explore that side of me. And then you're going to back away from it. And I think that's the saddest thing, because I think there are connections out there that could have been something beautiful had the person decided like, I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to, this shouldn't make me feel bad. I shouldn't be feeling insecure about whatever. Like, if this person doesn't care about it, why should I? Right? Like, if this person likes me but like, you have to like yourself too. So it's so much complicated, like the human, like, just the human, like how we are.
Yeah. What's crazy to think about with that is like the people who chose not to grow, they're probably like gonna remember you forever. Like, that was the what if.
That's the one that got away.
Like,
yes. I'm like, you know what, bitch, you will. No, because honestly, like, especially when you're a good soul and, you know, when you really bring light to somebody and it's just like, it's weird. Yeah, you'll become that person that like, you're the one that got away, or you're the one they won't really forget about, or they kind of think about you from time to time. What are your thoughts about, like, I'm curious because I can tell you're like a spiritual person. What is your thoughts about, like, when you have somebody on your mind a lot, right? And time's gone by and you keep kind of still thinking about that person. Do you think that other person also thinks about you?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's like you guys are both like thinking about each other and that's why you can't like,
it's either that or it's maybe they're not thinking about you, but something, whether you like, if it's someone that you knew or like were connected to in the past, it's like, what about that relationship is relevant to your life right now? Like what growth do you need to reflect on with like that relationship right there? But I also feel like if you're constantly thinking, because it's funny, my best friend was just having this experience with a guy she went to high school with. It was like she was constantly thinking about him, and they're like slowly kind of reconnecting right now, and I'm like, that's interesting.
That's wild.
Yeah, but I feel like more times than not, you're both thinking about each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're either gonna come back into each other's lives or you're just meant to reflect.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people too also that like they might think about you and you might not know, or they might even tell you, like, I've had somebody that like 8 years ago that like, not even at this point, it's more time, but there was like a point where we were kind of seeing each other and then broke it off, and then like 8 years passed and he reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm really sorry for all that happened at that time, and I was, you know, growing and this and that, and I'm just like, I never thought in a million years that you know, and it's like 8 years goes by and you say something. That's crazy to me. Like, why didn't you say something even sooner? But that's the thing. Sometimes people will be vocal about it and sometimes they won't, you know. But I like to think that I'm an unforgettable person. So
for sure. I can tell.
Like, so I'm like, regardless, I'm leaving an imprint in your life. And I have been told though that like there was a lady who, again, like a spiritual person, and she was like telling me that I have a thing where she's like, you have to be careful with who you bring into your life because it's very hard for you to forget about that person. Like it's almost like they leave like a little imprint on you. And I found that very, very interesting because I am selective with like who I let kind of into my life romantically. Like I'm very more so, I become even more pickier now about it. And so it is interesting because even if it's somebody that it was a short thing, or even somebody that like I wasn't even that into, I still always remember like these people in some way. They might just pop into my brain or something, and I always found that interesting. I was like, damn, I don't like that though.
I feel it.
I was like, all right, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a lot of soul ties and energy exchange.
Yeah.
Like even just like speaking to someone, looking at someone's eyes, like, or even sitting in a chair after someone, like you're exchanging energy.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy.
It is.
It's so crazy.
That's why your moods can change, I feel like sometimes. You know, you're around somebody that's like really negative in that moment and you're kind of around them, you're like, ooh, this is like not good. I gotta cleanse myself.
No, literally.
Sage, you know, like
gotta have the Palo Santo with me at all times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's like super important in those moments. It's like I do like an energy check-in and just like asking myself, like, is this even my energy? I feel like that's like a big thing because it's like we hold on to so much, we take in so much, like with all these exchanges, it's like, all right, what's yours and what's something that you've just picked up throughout the day?
Yeah,
and let it go.
It's a good point. Yeah. Wow. No, that's a very good point because I never really looked at it that way, but like you could be carrying somebody else's energy. Like if somebody calls you and they're in a bad mood, they are in a bad mood, and it's like on the phone, and then you get off that call and you're like, and you feel like now you're in a kind of a bad mood, right? You got to be like, oh, actually, I'm not in a bad mood. I just spoke to somebody that was tried to project whatever was going on with them onto me, so I gotta release that, remove that. Yeah,
because like if you're on a call with somebody and they're like telling you about a bad experience, like no matter what words are being said, you're literally just exchanging. Like, this is my heavy negative energy. I'm here to give you some positive energy to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Like, you're exchanging it.
Right.
So it's like you gotta let
it
that go. Be like, cleanse. And like,
Cleanse
even if you
it.
don't have some Palo Santo, you breathe.
Seriously, yeah.
Literally just breathe.
Yep. I agree. Yeah.
What how has like spirituality impacted your artist journey and your music?
I think just being more in tune with myself has helped me try and discover more parts of myself. And like when I write now, especially like I said, like I'm growing, and so I'm learning to love myself, and I'm learning to really love all these parts about me. I think a lot of that comes from a lot of the spiritual, like meditating is even, something meditating, or trying to, really ground yourself. And I just noticed, maybe it's because I'm an earth sign, but I notice like if I go out, and I touch grass, or like I go to the beach, and I'm just there, I'm surrounded by nature, it puts me in a better and positive mood, which then I can think, clearly and write from a different place, and just get my head right. So I think that that helps with also being like, the whole self-love journey, and writing about things. And yeah, it's always been like, just a general part of my life. But I like to believe that this world we live in, there's a lot that happens on here, and it's easy to be like, oh, well, that's impossible, or that's impossible. I think a lot of things are possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Exactly. And so like I personally, like, I believe in God. I do believe there's a God, but I believe that God created the universe, and I think that he gave the universe life, and I think that there's life in the universe, meaning like people having gifts, meaning people that are able to have like be like certain like mediums, or like just certain things about spirituality, or even just the earth itself and its healing powers and stuff. Like I believe all of that is real, and I think we even see it through like Native Americans who, the animals and the trees and the spirit, and it's like there's a lot of that, so I think it all works together, in my opinion, and I've always tried to use um, that belief into giving me strength and giving me faith, and um, being able to like write and know that what I'm doing is my purpose. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you have like what does your writing process look like? Do you have like a routine or like a state that you get yourself into? Like, where does that inspiration draw from?
So depending on what I'm writing about, I might even, like, for example, if I had a good day, but I'm writing about something sad, I might even listen to a song that puts me back into that kind of mood, just so that when I'm writing from a place of the emotion that I'm trying to convey. So I might listen to something. I might just even not even listen. I might, who I'm with, like the producer in the room, I might talk to that person about like, hey, let's talk about what I'm gonna write about or sing about, and we have a conversation about the situation at hand that happened, and it kind of puts you back in that spot. It makes you think about the memories, right? And then part of my process is like, if I'm writing to a beat, like versus like I'm just sitting and writing lyrics, if I'm writing to a beat, I listen to the beat, I think about the emotion it's like giving me. And then I go to the mic and I kind of like mumble melodies, like with no words. I just mumble things. And from there, then now it's recorded. I can listen to it and write lyrics to that, so that it fits the mumbling. And write from, again, like, what is it making me feel? What do I think this song should be about? What do I want to write about, and how can I make it work for this? Because I can also be like, today I really want to write about this thing. And then we create music around that reflects what that emotion is that's carrying there. So I really like to just make sure that I'm in the place mentally of whatever the song is about. Even if it's something really sad or devastating, I can put myself in that position if I'm not feeling it in that moment, by the memories or the music. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank
That's
you.
so beautiful. I'm like so fascinated by just like artists and singers, because I love to sing and my mom loves to sing.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. Yeah.
I wanna, that's something that like I can talk for days, I can model, I can be on camera, but like singing is something that I'm definitely like working on building my confidence with.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
We're getting there. Okay, all right.
We're getting there.
It.
Yeah, because like I grew up watching like a lot of musicals, and that's like where I learned just like a lot about music. Like my music knowledge comes from like movies, shows, musicals, and just like everything like that. So
yeah,
I love talking to artists.
I love it. No, that's great.
So much.
And I love to hear that too. I didn't know. So that's really great.
Yeah. What do we have to look forward to?
Okay.
From Michelle Majors?
I think from me, more music, more shows, obviously bigger and better things. I think that what we're always going to see from me is I'm going to try and be as real as I possibly can through my music, through what I'm saying in the like when I'm doing these podcasts or interviews. Like, I really feel like I lay in this area of sincerity, and I want people to feel that, because I want people to understand that, like, I'm here with you with these things. I'm not above you in any way. Like, we've gone through some of the same stuff, continuing to, get better with myself. I just want everybody to better themselves. Honestly, I just want to empower people to like see what I've gone through and be like, you know what, like, I want to do that too, where like I'm on this journey to self-love. Or like, damn, like I'm really going through all this heartbreak, and like, it's a pattern, when you realize you're in a cycle or you're in a pattern, like you can break out of it if you so choose to, when you're ready, and maybe a song of mine may give you inspiration for that, maybe not yet, but follow along on the journey. I feel like, we're just going to expect just more, like just more all over, all around. Yeah.
What has been some of either the best advice you received or the best advice that you have to offer for new artists just on this creative journey, whether it's in music or just anything creative?
I think best advice, I'm trying to think what the best is, but the general best advice that I've heard is like really like finding your voice. Like, and I'm not even talking about like singing wise. I mean, like, what's the message that you really want to put out there, and building around that, because whatever that message is, you can amplify that in your songs and your music. Like, people can hear that about you, and it's the embodiment of everything you really do and the way that you move, and like, you become understanding of who you are. I think when you understand who you are, that's going to help you understand how you're going to build your artistry, and the music you're going to make and what you're going to put out there in the world. People are very clear. Like, we all know, Charlie XCX, she's a party girl.
Yeah.
And she stands on that. She's going to die on that hill. Yeah. We love her for it, but that's what she is. Like, and we know that, we get that from her by the music she makes, by the way that she like handles herself, what she talks about, there's just some people that you just understand like what the messages they're trying to put out. And so find your like inner voice. What is it that you're trying to do? Like, what's the story you're trying to tell? What is your message through your music? And then just like, that's a part of you, and that's who you got to be. That's your self. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Another question I have is, do you have any stereotypes about breaking into the music industry, whether it's in LA or not, that you just want to shut down? Because it's like, that is not true at all.
I don't think you need to sell your soul to the devil. I don't know. I mean, maybe I haven't reached that point where I've been offered that yet. I don't, but it's like, I think you can, at today's day, I think that you can, because of the internet and because of everything, you can break through in many ways. I think when people say selling their soul to the devil, I just think it's more like, maybe more of a metaphorical thing, where people are like, you have to sleep with someone or you have to do this. Yeah. You don't. Like, the sleeping to the top thing is not, you don't have to do that. And you can even see that with certain artists that I would say, like Chapel Roan, for some reason, is the first person that popped in my head. There's like a video of her a few years ago, like just performing for like nobody. And then she blew up after the 2 years, and I'm pretty sure she has a story that's very like, she wasn't an industry plant, in the sense like she's
a small town Midwestern girl.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Small town Midwestern girl, like, who just wasn't a Nepo baby, so you can't even point these things at her. Like, so you don't have to sleep your way to the top. I think that's something that I feel like should be said, whether it's LA or anywhere. Be careful in LA, be careful anywhere.
Yeah.
Because people will try and they'll try and take advantage, but you just have to be smart enough to know, like, it's not gonna, I'm not gonna do that, you know?
What are your best tips for navigating the music industry?
Find a team, make a team, build a team. Team is everything. You can't do everything on your own. You can't. Like, it's good to start to do things on your own, and don't feel like tomorrow, oh my God, Michelle said you have to have a team, so tomorrow I gotta like, no, it's like, go out, meet people, network, talk to people, message people back and forth. Your team will formulate itself. I've had to go through so many different scenarios that didn't work out until like now, where I'm finally building my team around me. And so it's like, I've been working with these people for the past few years and developing myself as an artist, doing artist development, all this stuff, the music. And it took time to like get that. So, but know that it's okay to allow other people in your life and help you, because you want people that are in your corner, and that want to see you succeed, and that you can't always do everything alone. And so you start to build, and that's how it works. You build from there.
That's super important. That's something I'm like starting to realize even with my podcast, because I've been doing it for over a year now, and I'm like, this is a lot. Like, I kind of want to start creating like a team for it, just like helping me schedule, because I want to start doing like a lot more guest episodes, and I'm like, I could do this all myself, but like, do I really need to?
No, you don't. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like now you're at a point where you're like, okay, it took you a year, you did it alone for a year, and now you're like, okay, like maybe I can start adding people in to help. I think that's great, because I can make this thing, it can help you, you know? Yeah.
It'll only bring more growth.
Exactly. More growth. And I think that you're doing like a great thing with this podcast, so I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I love how our conversation flowed.
I know.
I love we're talking about music, and then it's like lots of love,
and then
little
back
rants.
to music. Rants, going back to music. That's how it is with me, though. I feel like talk about everything. We'll talk about aliens if we want to talk about,
maybe the next episode.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. Well, I'm excited. Do you have any set shows? I know you said you're working on one for July.
Yeah. So right now, no, I did have one in June, but it got canceled. So right now we're working for July. I know that I'm going to have new music end of June. Waiting on the date, but it's end of June.
Yay.
So
single album?
Single.
EP? Okay.
Yeah. So if anybody out there wants to give me a follow, it's I am Michelle Majors, Michelle with 2 L's and then Majors. And you'll see on there what I'm going to post about when it's going to come out. But that's basically the bigger thing that's going on right now, just gearing up for release of new music.
Yay. So. I love that. And I'll definitely link all your links down there too.
Okay, great.
Of course. Go give her a follow. She's absolutely incredible. If you're ever in LA and you want to see some just like real authentic live music, come to her shows, because truthfully, like, that was
me, kid.
No, like, that was so good. That I think out of my 6 months here in LA, like, that night at the Sunrose was top tier.
Oh my God, thank you so much. That means so much. Thank you.
Like, everything, just from like the intimate setting, the people in the room. I was like literally, I was sitting right in front of Jimmy Jam.
No, were you really?
I was in the front row and he was like directly behind me. I'm like, I didn't even know who you were.
Yeah, and then you turn around, you're like, shit. Yeah, you're like, okay, that's who that is. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then just like night. Everyone was such phenomenal performers, and you did incredible. She ended the show so phenomenally.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yay. Well, I think this was great.
No, it was. Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you so much. It was really great.
Thank you for coming on. We're like over here matching.
I know. What are we doing? It's the Taurus energy. That's
we just connected for the last hour.
Literally, that's what happened. Yeah, I love it. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you guys for listening and tuning in every Thursday. Make sure to go give Michelle a big follow and support, like, and repost all her amazing videos. Follow her on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music.
Yeah,
it's all out there.
It's out there. Yep.
We love you.
Bye.
Peace.